We see Barrick step out of the medical tent, his face etched with worry. He finds the nurse, who tells him, "We've done everything we can for Elsa. She's strong, but now we just have to wait and see." Barrick carries the heavy news to Kai, but stops dead in his tracks. He finds Kai standing before a group of monsters, not in combat, but as their commander. They are bowed before him, completely submissive. The sight is so shocking, Barrick can only stare. One of the creatures, a large, tusked beast, steps forward. "They call me Torod," he says, his voice a low rumble. "And we beg you to listen to our plea, Kai." He gestures to the blighted land around them. "This is the domain of the macaque, Higo. But because of the demon Diabo, the very soil and water of Higo have turned to poison. Our food is gone. Our home is dying. All that's left for us is to wait for Diabo to destroy us completely." The name Diabo triggers something in Kai. A sharp, splitting headache rips through his skull, bringing with it fragmented memories of a fierce battle. "Diabo," he mutters. "I've fought him before. He was an enemy." But the memory doesn't soften him. He glares at the monsters, his voice cold as steel. "Absolutely not. My answer is no." The monsters recoil. "Your horde attacked Lag village. My people are dead because of you. It's impossible. I will never help you deal with Diabo." Another monster, smaller and more aggressive, snarls. "We killed many of your people, it's true, but you killed many of ours. If you refuse to help us, we will storm your village and slaughter every last one of them." A wave of pure rage washes over Kai, his power crackling in the air around him. "I'll kill you all right here and now," he seethes. Torod quickly intervenes, trying to de-escalate the situation. "Please, Kai, forgive his ignorance. He speaks from fear. We apologize for our actions." But Kai isn't listening. He turns his back on them, storming back into the tent where Elsa lies pale and still. He sits by her bedside, his anger replaced by a profound sadness. An old healer looks up at him. "We've given her every medicine and potion we have," the old man says softly. "The rest is up to her own strength now." He then asks, "What will you do about those creatures outside?" "I won't help them," Kai says, his jaw tight. "They are the reason she is in this state." The old man sighs, his eyes full of wisdom. "Do not be so quick to refuse, my boy. This isn't just about them. This demon, Diabo, is a threat to the entire world. If he isn't stopped, he will annihilate everything and everyone. Your personal feelings cannot stand in the way of a global catastrophe." Kai's resolve begins to waver. He leaves the tent, needing to be alone. He finds a solitary tree and slumps down beneath it, the weight of the world on his shoulders. He thinks about Elsa, about the village, about the smirking face of the demon from his vision. After a long silence, he makes his decision. He will save the world. He returns to the monsters, his expression grim. "I will go to Lag village," he announces to the tense crowd. "I need to think this through." Back in the village, his friends rush to his side, asking if he's okay and what happened to the villain, Gandalf. "He got away," Kai admits, his voice heavy. "And Elsa is not doing well." He then adds, "There is something I must discuss with the Baron." He finds the Baron and informs him of the imminent threat from the macaque. Immediately, the village leaders begin to strategize, planning defenses and preparing for another assault. As Kai is about to leave, the Baron places a hand on his shoulder. "I am deeply impressed with you, son. Your performance in the battle was extraordinary. You saved many lives today, and for that, you have my eternal gratitude." Meanwhile, in the castle, a servant enters Prince Orha's chambers with his dinner, only to find the room empty. We see a quick shot of Prince Orha himself, slinking through the shadowy corridors of the palace with a hidden purpose. Back in the village, Lilisa, Elsa's younger sister, finds Kai. "Where is my sister? How is she?" she asks, her eyes wide with fear. Kai struggles to find the words. "Lilisa, she's not well, but she's a fighter. She'll recover soon." The girl bursts into tears and runs away. Just then, Josie approaches him, her expression soft and understanding. "Don't be so hard on yourself, Kai," she says gently. "You've done so much for this village. You protected us. I know your strength will be enough to save everyone in the end." Suddenly, Prince Orha appears, looking down his nose at the field of slain monsters. With a condescending smirk, he looks at Kai and asks, My, are these the little pests you killed?" Prince Orha strode onto the scene, surveying the field of dead monsters with a theatrical sweep of his arm. Well, Kai, is this the prey you've hunted? There are so many. Truly, you are magnificent." He clapped Kai on the shoulder. "A little too hard. But tell me," he said, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper, "why the long face? You look furious. You should be the happiest man alive. You've killed all these apes. You should be proud. Lift your head high." "I don't feel any pride in this," Kai said flatly, his eyes still dark. Orha's friendly facade instantly vanished, replaced by a flash of anger. "What? How can you be so sullen after a victory like this? Get a hold of yourself. You're a big deal now. You shouldn't bow your head to anyone but God himself. It was clear Orha's words were hollow, a performance for the crowd. The jealousy simmering beneath the surface finally boiled over. He suddenly ran towards the slaughtered creatures, his face twisted in a sneer. "This glory should have been mine," he hissed. "I should have been the one to kill them, but I was cursed at the time." Unsheathing his own sword, he began to hack and slash at the dead bodies in a frenzied, pathetic display. "Brother, stop it!" his sister cried out, horrified. "What are you doing? Kai already killed them!" Kai rushed forward and grabbed his arm. "Orha, calm down! Get your hands off me!" Orha snarled, shoving Kai back with a powerful kick. He leveled his sword at Kai's chest. "Don't get too full of yourself, you idiot! You'll never surpass me, never!" "I couldn't care less about that," Kai said, his voice steady and calm despite the threat. "All I want is a safe and peaceful home. How long can we keep fighting each other? We need to unite our people to try and spread peace in this region. If we don't, we'll be consumed by an endless war." He turned and walked away, leaving Orha fuming. "How dare he?" Orha raged to his sister, his voice trembling with indignation. "How dare that commoner preach to me? He's not even a true will-bearer." "I'm not so sure about that," his sister murmured, looking in the direction Kai had gone. "Enough of your foolishness," Orha snapped, turning on her. "Don't you ever question me again, you stupid girl, or I'll have your hide." Later, Kai found Baron Feigen. "Commander," he said respectfully, "permit me to investigate the matter of the macaque. I will return in a few days." Feigen looked at him with shrewd, knowing eyes. "How is this possible, Kai? You've only just returned, and yet you want to leave. The village again? You're hiding something from me, aren't you?" Kai stammered. No, I'm not hiding anything." The Baron chuckled softly. "Don't play dumb with me, son. I'm no fool. I'm certain there's something spinning around in that head of yours." He leaned in closer. "But there's something you should know, something the powerful must always consider. You have shown strength that nearly rivals that of a will-bearer. With that power, you can climb walls ordinary men can't even scratch. You can break through them. Remember that." He straightened up. "Now go, and be careful." Kai then went to find his friends, Josie and Mansu. Mansu presented him with a newly forged spear, its tip gleaming. "It's perfectly balanced," he said, pressing it into Kai's hands and giving him some last-minute advice for staying safe on the road. Josie then stepped forward and held out a sharp, familiar knife. "Take this," she said softly. "Josie, no!" Kai protested. "This is yours. I want you to have it," she insisted. "Consider it a gift for good luck." Kai took the knife, his heart full. As he prepared to leave, a wave of doubt washed over him. He wondered if he would ever see these faces again, or if this journey was his last. But he pushed the doubt aside. He had made his choice, and he would see it through, doing whatever it took. He returned to the clearing where Barrack and the monsters were still waiting. "I agree to your terms," Kai announced, his voice ringing with authority. "But on one condition. You will not, under any circumstances, attack the human village while I am gone." The monsters, led by Torod, swore a binding oath. With the deal struck, Kai told them he was ready to depart. He took one last look inside the medical tent, his heart aching as he saw Elsa, still lost to the world, her breathing shallow. That sight solidified his resolve. He emerged from the tent, where one of the monsters handed him a massive battle axe. With the heavy weapon resting on his shoulder, he and his new monstrous allies set off on their difficult journey. Finally, after a long and arduous trek, Kai arrived in the land of Higo. It was a graveyard of a land. The air was thick with the stench of decay. Twisted skeletal trees reached for a gray sky, and the ground was barren. They passed a field of crude markers, a cemetery for those slaughtered by the demon, Diabo. He was a cursed being who had poisoned the very earth, killing the plants, the fish, and everything that once lived here. They made their way to the center of the desolate village and ascended a rocky outcrop to meet the chieftain, an ancient and weary creature named Aprador. What story was hidden behind the old chieftain's tired eyes? And what was the truth behind Diabo's curse? The answers would have to wait, for the story continues. Our episode today begins after the very dangerous battle of the ambush ended. But we do not yet know if it is truly over, or if things might become even more dangerous, because someone managed to escape. But first, we will take the quickest route, back to the palace, leaving Henlitz in charge of matters here. The master decides to come with Alucia, and so they all set off. Alucia did not know what her next step would be. She was very tense from what had happened. The search is still ongoing for those who fled the scene of the incident. Because of what just happened, Tomorrow's tour will likely be cancelled, Beryl. The scene then shifts to their arrival. Princess Thalia and Prince Gillen were admitted to the royal palace. We will increase the number of guards on duty for a while, and security is tightened. They are now about to meet with senior officials. The blue fighter has no role now. Beryl thinks to himself, maybe she will now ask me to show her the sights, which I don't want. But she said, I am going home. Beryl is overjoyed and says, thank God she didn't talk to me. After that, Beryl leaves for home to see if Mui has finished with her lessons. When he opens the door, he finds Lucy drinking tea and is surprised by her presence. She tells him she is here now because a lot has happened. I found out everything. They all told me about it. Then Mui brings tea and tells him she is going shopping. She is a smart girl. When she realized we were going to discuss sensitive matters, she left. She truly understood the situation. Let's talk, Beryl, Lucy begins, about why the magic division wasn't part of the guard detail. He explains that he couldn't do anything about it because they require special spells and chants that can take some time. You saw what happened. That commando unit was incredibly fast. They appeared out of nowhere. If they hadn't been dealt with quickly, they might have succeeded and assassinated some important figures. We must be very careful. The scene now shifts to Alucia, who has met with Vice Commander Marpleheart. What brings you here again? Marpleheart asks. Alucia tells her she came looking for the commander. But Marpleheart informs her that he is still in a meeting with officials at the royal palace and probably won't be back for a while. Meanwhile, the scene returns to Beryl and Lucy, who are still discussing the major problem. Svinidiarnia is currently witnessing significant power struggles. The papal and royalist factions are fighting, and it seems tensions have recently escalated. She begins to explain the power structure to him, how the king has the highest authority of anyone, but he does not have the power to appoint or change ministers. Only the parliament can do that, a parliament of 300 people, requiring a 90% approval rate. From all the conflicts that are happening, we deduce or assume that the papal faction committed that heinous act, not only to gain authority but also power and prestige. But even if they assassinated Prince Gillen, wouldn't things remain the same if another prince came to replace him? He asks. She replies, the second prince is Prince Falx, and he is a particular follower of the church. They would approve of him. The scene now shifts back to Alucia with the vice commander. She has sat down with her and explained everything, but now she wants to leave. Stay, the vice commander says. I want to talk to you about Beryl. I wasn't with him for a long time back then. I was traveling to different countries and cities and happened to pass through here. I was amazed by his skill with the sword. I was impressed from the very first glance. Alucia says, yes, he is a very strong man. I have been with him for about 7 or 8 years. The vice commander asks her, what was the master like when he was younger? Alucia tells her that she was just a child at the time. I remember what happened. In the beginning, I didn't understand how amazing he was at fighting. He praised me for my talent, but I think that was to ensure I stayed motivated, meaning he was encouraging me when I was able to imitate his dueling skills. He told me it was time to graduate, and I cried so hard when I parted with him and said goodbye. It was so embarrassing. He hasn't changed. He was calm back then, and he's still the same now. At that moment, they notice a small, lost-looking boy. The vice commander approaches them and says, what's wrong, little one? He tells them he can't find his mother. Alucia suggests they take him to the guard room. They ask for his name, and he tells them it's Ritter. They gather some information from him, like what his mother was wearing, so they can search for her. Then, they call out in a loud, joking voice, hey, the lady with the long hair and red dress, we have your son over here at the coffee stand. Laughs. The scene shifts again to Beryl and Lucy. Beryl is talking and says, this means that all the assassins committed suicide when we captured them. He then remembers that person and says, I saw someone throw their life away like that without even blinking. I think they're all cut from the same cloth. And if that's true, this isn't the end of it. It seems something is still going on. Moy then returns and Lucy leaves. We see Alucia after they have finally found the boy's mother, who thanks them before they leave. Alucia was talking to the vice commander and says to her, you really love children. She replies, yes, children are innocent in their youth, but when they grow up we see hatred, jealousy, envy, and many other things. If you are to love, you should love a child. It is up to us, the adults, to protect them first and foremost. The scene shifts. Alucia has returned to headquarters, but the tour was not cancelled. She gives a briefing about Princess Thalia and Prince Gillen's tour, telling them it will proceed as planned. In light of yesterday's incident, I ask you to be extra vigilant in your duties. Now get to work, move out, and stay focused. Alucia then speaks to Commander Beryl, who asks her, what have you done, you fool? She replies, this is what Prince Gillen wanted, and both nations agreed to it. They then get into the car, and the procession sets off, surrounded by numerous guards. At that moment, the High Commander arrives and calls out to Beryl. A word with you in private, Master, he says. He then informs him, the perpetrator of yesterday's attack was one of our former comrades. Beryl asks, was it Hennis? Yes, indeed. He was the vice commander before Rose, the high commander confirms. Unbelievable, Beryl says. It's hard to believe that a former comrade would target the royal family. This is extremely serious and not simple at all. The commander then adds, if that boy shows his face, I will eliminate him myself. The procession continues. So far, so good, thank God. They travel through wide, beautiful lands and magnificent fields. It was an agricultural area, and the yellow, gold, the wheat, was almost ready for harvest. This was Beryl's first time here, and he was genuinely happy. The prince and princess then get out and tell him, be careful. The guards take their positions and spread out. Everything is fine. So far, then out of nowhere, a stray arrow flies past the prince, nearly hitting him. Arrows begin to rain down like hail from everywhere. The guard forces quickly move to block the arrows. The situation is critical and getting worse as the arrows multiply. The situation is deteriorating rapidly. Then, enemy forces emerge and engage. The guards face to face. Beryl confronts a very strong opponent, while another engages Henlitz, but Henlitz manages to kill him. We then see Alucia fighting another person, striking them with a surprise attack that takes them down instantly. The arrows intensify, and Beryl deflects all of them, killing one attacker after another. But unfortunately, there are too many of them. We are in big trouble. More and more of them appear, as you can see. But something strange happens. Beryl wonders aloud. What happened to the outer perimeter guards? They have all fallen after a battle that lasted more than 15 minutes. Beryl orders Alucia to take the prince and princess. Get in the car quickly and leave the area. What about you, Beryl? She asks. Just give the signal and go quickly. After that, Beryl meets up with the vice commander. She tells him, you are very strong. But then she draws her sword and says, now we can talk, master. Could the vice commander be a spy within the royal guard? Watch the next episode and write to us in the comments if you think she is a spy or not, and tell us which country you're watching from. You must be subscribed to the channel and have the notification bell on to receive all our new updates. Quiet courtyard. Suddenly, shadows detached themselves from the darkness. Two masked figures lunged at her, their movements silent and predatory, but they had severely underestimated their target. With reflexes honed by Commander Volek's brutal training, Sophia moved like lightning. She parried their strikes, her blocks sharp and powerful, before launching her own counterattack. A sweeping leg kick sent one assailant sprawling, and a precise palm strike to the chest sent the other crashing hard into the ground. As they lay groaning, Sophia stood over them, breathing heavily but triumphant. I can't just leave these two thugs here, she muttered, her mind already working. I'll have to contact the Royal Knights. Just then, she noticed a small glass bottle on the ground near the defeated men, a strange, ethereal smoke seeping from its uncorked top. A wave of dizziness and fatigue washed over her, her hard-won strength suddenly draining away. You have such potential, a smooth voice said from the shadows. A man emerged, his face obscured by the dim light, his presence radiating, a cold authority. But for your light to shine its brightest, you must be by my side, Sophia. Before she could process his words or react, her eyes were drawn to a small, ornate box resting nearby. It pulsed with a faint light, and then, in a blinding flash, it exploded. And on that shocking cliffhanger, our episode for today comes to an end. To find out what happens next, be sure to join us again. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to show your support so you won't miss what's to come. Our story begins today with Sophia awakening from a deep slumber, only to find herself in what appears to be paradise. What is this place? She wonders aloud, taking in the plush bed, vibrant greenery, and an abundance of delicious food. Am I dreaming? Louis accompanied me until I was close to my residence, but after that, I don't remember a thing. A sudden jolt of surprise runs through her as she notices her attire. What are these clothes I'm wearing? These aren't the clothes Louis bought me. But thankfully, I haven't lost my necklace. Her thoughts are interrupted by a young boy who approaches her, exclaiming, "Are you awake? Thank goodness you're safe." He introduces himself as Leo Hart. "I haven't seen you since the school party. Do you remember me?" Sophia replies, "Yes, you're Leo Hart." He then apologizes for a past incident where he had grabbed her face, hinting at an attempted assault. "Are you feeling any pain?" he asks, his expression concerned. "You were attacked. Someone made you inhale a toxin, and you instantly fainted. That's why I brought you here." However, a flicker of doubt crosses Sophia's mind. Perhaps he is the one responsible. "Come," Leo Hart says. "Let's drink some tea once your clothes are dry." Sophia is truly taken aback by everything that has transpired. "What a beautiful place this is," she exclaims. "I can't even tell if it's night or day." Leo Hart explains, "They are light reflectors. It always appears this way day or night. You can only tell the difference by looking at the clock. He then points to her necklace. What do you think of that necklace? Sophia, admiring it, replies, "It's truly beautiful." He informs her that it originates from a place she's never heard of before, Leohart's past, a tale of simple life and grand ambition. Leohart then delves into his past, reminiscing about his life in a tranquil village where he and his friends lived a simple, peaceful existence. He recalls a time when a food distributor would arrive, and Leohart, being the tallest among the children, would collect large quantities of food to share with his friends. Their lives were uncomplicated and easy. As he holds the jewel from Sophia's necklace, he remarks on its immense value. He then reveals that a nobleman wished to adopt him. "We, the nobles, support the king and derive our power from animals. Our kingdom appears stable, but the power of the animals has created a gap in wealth distribution and disparities in hidden places. The situation is worsening. Therefore, I first want you to help me, since you know this area. Your voice, Leohart, will reach the crowd." The nobleman offered Leohart a proposition. In exchange for his influence, he would provide abundant food for all the children, not just every week, but every day. Furthermore, he promised to supply them with all the educational resources they needed, bringing them any books they desired. "I hope you accept my offer," the nobleman urged. Leohart, after consulting with his friends, found the offer appealing. They told him, "It's a good offer. The only problem is that we'll miss you terribly, but this is truly what you must do." Leohart then agreed to the nobleman's proposal, stating, "I agree, sir." The nobleman was overjoyed upon discovering Leohart possessed a great ability. "I will inform the king of this," he declared. "He will truly be delighted by this immense power." A noble's life and cherished memories. Later we see Leohart engrossed in a book. The nobleman approaches him and asks, "Perhaps you've grown accustomed to the life of nobles now?" He then notices a bottle in Leohart's possession. "Do you still keep that dirty thing?" Leohart responds, "It's not dirty. It's one of my memories with my friends from the past. I can never part with it, no matter what happens. I'm going there now." The nobleman's face contorted in a furious scowl. "I forbid you from going there," he bellowed, his voice echoing through the opulent halls. "You have many responsibilities now that you are my son." But his words fell on deaf ears. Leohart, fueled by an urgent, unspoken fear, bolted from the room with rocket-like speed, leaving the enraged nobleman behind. What he found was a true shock. His beloved village, the place of his childhood, was utterly demolished. Not a soul was in sight, only shattered remnants of what once was. Then he spotted some of his friends, huddled together, weeping uncontrollably. Through their heartbroken sobs, he pieced together the horrific truth. People had set fire to the entire village, the place where everyone slept, where they had played, where they had lived. And Cecile was gone. Overcome with grief, Leohart collapsed, tears streaming down his face. A shocking revelation and a new foe. Back in the present, Leohart's voice hardens, his eyes filled with a simmering rage. "The person who stole my power, my home, and everything else was the Duke," he declares, his voice laced with venom. "The very man who became my father. He shamelessly told me it was normal to dispose of trash. For that reason, I also decided to dispose of the trash. I eliminated him." Sophia, her voice trembling, asks, "Who are you?" He smirks, a chilling glint in his eyes. "I am the leader of the anti-monarchy Dawn faction." Yes, dear friends, he is referring to the very individuals who planted the bomb in the Dormington area. He then informs Sophia that he knows everything about her, including the fact that she has acquired the power of the gorilla. "But do you know what the natural predator of the gorilla is?" he taunts, a predatory grin spreading across his face. "The answer is me. I possess the power of the leopard." Sophia instinctively recoils, taking 2 steps back. Leohard's smirk vanishes, replaced by a look of disdain. "I am just as strong as you," he growls. "But how can you allow that squirrel," he says, clearly referring to Louis, "to tame you, you gorilla?" He then seizes Sophia's precious necklace, the one she cherished, and brutally tears it apart. "I will give you a new necklace," he states, holding up a different, unfamiliar pendant. "It suits you perfectly." Sophia's rage explodes. "How dare you do that?" she roars, unleashing a furious gorilla punch that shatters the very building around them. She quickly pulls on her clothes, retrieves the fragmented pieces of her old necklace, and declares, "I must hurry. All the students are in danger. A question for you. If you were Louis and knew about this man, what would you do?" Would you eliminate him, or would you try to negotiate, knowing his immense power would make him impossible to defeat easily?